All right. All right, everybody. Welcome back to a special live edition of Guns and Gadgets. Hopefully technology is working with us. If it's not, I know you guys and gals will tell me. So please be kind in the comments because you know how YouTube's been with me for the last 24 hours. I want to start out by saying thank you all for your support. This channel is growing leaps and bounds, more than I ever thought was capable, and I owe it to you, the viewer. You guys and gals make this possible. Without you, I'm just a dope talking to a computer screen and wasting a lot of time on the screen where I could just be, looking at bills and stuff. So thank you all. I also want to implore everybody to join Gun Owners of America. I don't work for GOA, but I support them. I love what they do. They're like myself. They're no nonsense. It's a grassroots agency. In the link of every one of my videos is how to join GOA. You get a discount from Guns and Gadgets just as a viewer. They'll give you 25% off. In fact, let me pull that link here and give it to you in the chat room here. So they'll give you 25% off, which is $5 off. I ask everybody to put that $5 back, donate it to them, because they use those funds to fight evil. So I want to bring on screen here my guest today. I want to thank her first off for taking time out of your day. I know you are very busy down in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Rachel Malone, who is the Director of Gun Owners of America in the great state of Texas. Rachel, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and glad to be on Guns and Gadgets with you.
Well, I like I said, I know you're busy being the director of that state, and I want to give you a platform here to tell everybody what's going on, whether they live in Texas or not, because we all need to band together. And the sooner we figure that out as a group and become less fractured as gun owners, the better off and the stronger voice we'll have. So why don't you give everybody first off an intro to you, who you are, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So, pleasure to be here. I am Rachel Malone. I am the Texas Director of Gun Owners of America, which means that I focus on the state legislation. So the Texas legislature, anything gun-related that's happening there, that's my jam. That's what I work on. And I've been doing this sort of activism just as a grassroots activist for about 8 years. Yeah, I started in 2012. Just as myself, and gradually realized, hey, there were other people in Texas who also wanted constitutional carry and also wanted to end gun-free zones. And then I was able to connect with Larry Pratt and became aware of GOA and realized they wanted exactly the same thing. So I've been their Texas director for a couple of years now. And right now, I think the nation's eyes are on places like Virginia, but also Texas, because, you're seeing a lot of news hit right now about gun control activists moving to Texas and trying to do work in Texas. That's not new. That didn't come out of a vacuum. They've been laying the structure for that for several years now, and I've been seeing it. But we are seeing a resurgence of hope among them that they can turn Texas into a gun control stronghold. So this is absolutely the time to be fighting now before they get a hold of Texas in the way they want to.
Absolutely. I did a video a couple days ago when Moms Demand Action, and well, for everybody watching, I'm going to use those three terms as one because Michael Bloomberg and Every Time for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action, they are the same. They just wear different hats. Yeah, and they all spend money, but it all comes from the pockets of Michael Bloomberg, who has the amount of money to do this nationwide. He is the backer of all the red flags. He started funding it. It's all him. So if I say one of the three, it's all the same. So let's talk about what has come up recently. He considers, he being Michael Bloomberg, he considers what happened in Virginia a victory. He flipped the state, and now they owe the master, so they're pushing everything they can, no matter how crazy it is, because they owe him. Like it's his investment. And they just committed at least $8 million to do the same in Texas for this year's elections. And they even said they're going to put at least $60 million into this election nationwide. What have you seen already taking place in Texas? And then we'll go into specifics on how people can stop it.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating things to me is that people are seeing headlines like that, like all the money being committed right now to Texas, and it's like they think it's just starting, like Bloomberg is just coming and bringing his army to Texas. Y'all, they've been showing up at the legislative hearings for years. with the red shirts. And yes, we've had gun rights people showing up also, but we need to have a lot more of us showing up now when it matters. And I think also a lot of Texans are looking at Virginia and saying it's fabulous that they all showed up at the recent rallies. They're showing up to hearings. They're showing up to things. But what I keep reminding people in Texas and really all across the nation, you can't wait until Bloomberg, you see the headlines about all the money coming, or you see the elections flipping houses and flipping districts. You can't wait until then to start showing up, because then you're just on the defensive and you're trying to stop, the really egregious gun control. We've got to move Texas forward.
Absolutely. And so you, like myself, know that he's been doing this for a long time, laying the groundwork. Could you maybe speak to that? What are some of the things he's been doing specifically to try to get it to where it is today?
Right. So I think one of the most insidious and dangerous things that people just aren't even mostly realizing is the mental game they are playing. They are absolutely after controlling the narrative and controlling the way that people think about guns and the way that people think about gun owners. So, again, a lot of people are worried about the assault weapons ban or the red flag laws. And yes, I'm worried about those too. Those are horrible laws that we cannot let happen in Texas. But I think we need to also see the firearm safety awareness campaigns that they're waging. When I think of firearm safety, I think keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. I think of things like, always keep it pointed in a safe direction. Well, when they think firearms safety and when they use those words, they mean nothing of the sort. What they mean is guns are always dangerous and should always be locked up, and the owners should never have good access to their guns because there's no value. That's what they mean. And currently here in Texas, they got a budget item passed last year in a Republican legislature with the Republican governor signing it, refused to veto it, where they're using tax dollars to promote a firearms safety awareness campaign that's literally teaching the message that guns are dangerous and should always be locked up. They're already doing that. I mean, it's not that we have this future worry that they're going to come in Texas and do something. They've already been laying the structure in the way that people think about guns, and even using our own tax dollars to promote an anti-gun message in a way that seems maybe couched in pro-gun terms. That's what we're fighting against. That's what they've been doing. So yeah, they show up to hearings, but they try to make it seem like they are talking about a common sense method. And they even started a Texas group called Texans for Gun Sense, and they even claim they have a firearms instructor on board. Don't be fooled by it. It's literally a Bloomberg-funded Moms Demand Action organization, just under a different name to make it seem like they're a little more mainstream or a little more on the side of gun owners. They're not. They're still fully on the side of gun control. But it's all about controlling the way people think about guns, stigmatizing gun owners, using gun ownership in and of itself as a red flag or a threat assessment factor, and then basically if they succeed in all those things, the battle's done for them. They don't even have to worry about passing those major gun bans. People are already going to be turned against guns and gun owners.
Right. And that's been the strategy they've been using for almost 25 years now. Oh, yeah. And he just doesn't stop. And the problem is that we being, typically the conservative gun owner who doesn't pay attention with politics that goes on every day, by the time we get angry enough to where we're involved, it's too late, like you just said. Yes. What can the average Joe watching right now in Texas do to be either to look out for these things? Do you have a spot where they can check it out, whether it's GOA or you have a different website? What can the average person in your state do right now?
Absolutely. So right now, the first thing people can do is grab your phone or your laptop, go to your Facebook app, and then find the GOA Texas Facebook group. So a lot of the states are getting groups that are going to put out action items specific to that state legislation. So I need everybody going and joining the group GOA Texas. Answer the questions. We're trying to keep it clean and on topic. It's not just about rants about conservatism. It's literally for gun rights action items in Texas, and there's a lot of information in there already. So number one, join the GOA Texas Facebook group. Number two, this one takes a lot of sacrifice. I will not deny it, but we will not win without enough people showing up in person to the Capitol at the hearings. not just for a Saturday rally. Those are fine, but the legislators aren't there and they don't really do a lot of good right now. We need people showing up to the hearings when they're actually considering these issues and talking about them and asking for public input. We have 3 hearings scheduled right now. One is this Wednesday, where they're actually asking us what they can do to further defend the right to bear arms. This is the one that's focused on gun rights. So I need people at the Capitol this Wednesday, and then also March 10th and 11th. One of the days they're talking about expanded background checks, and the other day they're talking about school safety. So I need people there for both of those.
Absolutely. And for the person who maybe doesn't know where the Capitol is, it happens. Could you tell them if you know the address? If not, I know where it is, but maybe give somebody whereabouts or how they could find it.
Sure. So it's the Texas State Capitol. It's in Austin, downtown area. It's 1100 Congress if you want the address. And one of my most frequently asked questions is, well, where do I park? Because nobody wants to drive downtown Austin or park there. It's super easy. There's actually the Capitol Visitors Parking Garage, and you can Google directions to it. It's just a couple of blocks away, Capitol Visitors Parking Garage. It's free for 2 hours. If you stay all day, it's only $12 for all day. It's the cheapest parking downtown.
Wow, government has free parking for 2 hours?
The Capitol, yes.
Let's not let that get out.
People don't realize if you have your license to carry, you can actually carry open or concealed in the Capitol. So I'll carry my gun sometimes open when I'm literally testifying on these bills. And you can do that. Everybody else has to go through a metal detector, but you just show your license and you bypass the detector. So you can still carry in the Capitol. We still have that. And everybody who shows up generally always gets a chance to speak. You might have to wait for hours, because there might be a lot of others there too. But as long as you wait it out, you'll get your 2 or 3 minutes to speak. So I really encourage people to take advantage of it. And again, if it's things that people have never done before, yeah, it sounds scary and it's kind of complicated, but we just need to remember they work for us. We don't need to be scared of them. We need to tell them what to do. We are their employer. Right. So we're paying their salaries. We get to tell them what to do. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know all the right words to say. Literally get up and tell them your opinion. Because at the end of the day, they care about their voters' opinion, whether or not it's based on any fact. And so we've got to make our opinion be the strongest.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Rachel said, if you're not comfortable talking or you don't know what to say, just say whatever you normally would say if you were talking to your friends or your kids. I mean, look at AOC. She doesn't know how to talk, and she's in Congress.
Exactly. Say the things that you say to your TV or to your Facebook feed when you're mad. Literally sit in the seats and wear a GOA sticker. We're going to have buttons, actually. Sit there and wear a button for a couple hours. That helps so much. Absolutely.
And they actually take you, they give you a little more credit and credence when you just talk normally, because they can, believe me, people can tell when you're faking it and you're trying to throw out Scrabble words, trying to get that triple word score. They don't take you as serious, especially if you use that in the wrong connotation. So go up there and say, hey, I don't want this, and this is why. Boom, boom, boom. Done.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because we see the other side literally reading off a script and they'll all say exactly the same words. And people come to me all the time like, oh, you need to do this for us. We need to all be saying exactly the same thing. And I tell them, no, absolutely not. Right. They have more credibility. Our people have more credibility when they are using their own words. When we are saying maybe slightly different things, but it's obvious we're speaking our own beliefs. We're there because we believe in something. We came up with these words, and it's all generally on gun rights. And so we're much more powerful that way. And yeah, I will, again, follow me on Facebook or join the Facebook group. And I'm going to be putting later on tonight some talking points, just general facts and things you can use. But at the end of the day, it's got to be your own words, and they are so much more powerful than reading off somebody else's script.
Right, and it doesn't take long. I mean, does Texas limit the amount of time they have? Is it 3 minutes?
It's either 2 minutes or 3 minutes, depending on the committee.
It goes quick, guys and gals. Believe me, and they'll tell you when to stop talking. So they'll throw you the little hook and save you. But the key is getting there. And I assume that Texas is going to do this during normal business hours when people are working. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's Wednesday. It starts at 10 a.m. It'll go all day. I'm expecting it to go late at night. So yeah, you got to take off work. You got to drive in. Some people live 10 hours away from the Capitol. It sucks. And I get it. It's a sacrifice, but we have to have enough people making the sacrifice. And if you're somebody who lives too far away and you literally cannot take off work, you cannot make it there, That's okay, but get somebody else to go in your stead. Pay for their gas, help them write testimony, help them know about it. You can still do something to make sure we get people showing up.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing, guys, is they play us because they know that the most of the people out there that own guns, law-abiding citizens, have jobs. And the best time to push stuff through is when you can't get there to stop it. So if you can, take a personal day, sick time, half day, be creative. If you know it's going to be going late, follow. I'm sure you guys you do updates like every other state does. If it's running late and testimony's still going and you can after work, stop by. You don't have to worry about a suit and tie. Just show up. The average Joe Schmo is what gets the work done when it comes to the legislature stuff. So in this article that moms in every town were talking about the other day about the $8 million that old Mikey's going to spend, they said that they already have 400,000 volunteers on the ground in Texas. Is that something you're aware of? Is that news to you? And how do we stop 400,000 whiners?
So Texas has a population of ballpark 30 million. So
right.
That's a lot of us here, a lot of gun owners, a lot of gun rights people. So I think that number, I don't usually take a roll call. That number doesn't surprise me that they somehow have managed to text that many people and can call them volunteers or call them their team. But what it means is we've got to take our responsibility seriously. Realize that, a lot of them are showing up. Again, some of them don't know what they're doing. They were just told they need to show up and wear a red shirt for the safety of their family.
Right.
Seriously, a lot of them, that's all that they know. They're afraid, and they're like, my family's going to get hurt if I don't show up and wear this red shirt, so I'm going to do it. And so they, somewhere down there, they have pure motives. They want to keep their families safe. But they are showing up, and we've got to show up just the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheep will always show up, especially when they're bussed in. Oh, yeah. They're paid $25, $30 for the day. They're fed. And make no mistake, guys and gals, that's what the left does. They're famous for it. They will show up. It's up to us to make sure that we do show up because they're going to show up no matter what.
And, something else that I want to point out, a lot of people, I can see this side of it too. A lot of people are like, why even bother to try to talk to them because they are just so pervasive in their beliefs. How could you ever change their minds? For me, a little over 10 years ago, I was basically one of those people. I wouldn't consider myself anti-gun because I was conservative. I knew guns are supposed to be good because you have the Second Amendment, but I still didn't realize that guns aren't dangerous. Like, I still had it in my head just because I knew nothing about guns. I really thought that if my brother carried a gun, he was going to die. I legitimately thought that. And so I was scared. I didn't want him to die, of course, and I didn't want him to carry a gun. I thought it was dangerous. And so I had to be talked through the facts. And even after I came to believe the facts, I was still terrified of guns for a while. Again, just because I hadn't grown up with them, I didn't know anything about them. So, for those who did grow up with guns, it's just part of your DNA, and you couldn't imagine. Try to at least put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, if they didn't know anything about guns, and if a gun was something that literally would just explode any time, you wouldn't want your family handling them. And realize that's where the disconnect is. It's understanding what a gun is, what its value is, and how it can be used correctly and safely to defend life. We all care about our families, but we need to understand where the actual disconnect is, and that's a conversation starter.
Absolutely, and that's key. I mean, you were a typical, not anti-gunner, but somebody who was maybe had an aversion or didn't want them, and now you're not only a high-ranking, well, I call it ranking, but a very important person in GOA, but you're also a firearms instructor. Right. I've been following you for a while. I know that you teach people to shoot, so that's the key, guys. We have to, if you can, take the time out of your schedule and invite your neighbor to the range. Even if they're anti-gun. I had, when I first bought this house, my neighbors who were there, they were anti-gun. And by the time they moved to their new place, they aren't anti-gun anymore. That's the key. Start young. Your kids. Teach your kids. Start with gun safety as soon as they're able to comprehend it. Because you might have somebody next door who might be anti-gun, but they could be the next Rachel Malone in the rough. So we need more help on our side.
And they don't have to love going to the range. It doesn't have to be their new hobby they do all the time. They just have to realize that that guns can be used to help save their lives, and they are not inherently dangerous.
Right, absolutely. I've got guns on the table right here. None of them have gone off, and they just keep listening. Stay, don't move. So, with the attack that Texas is facing right now, the renewed, stronger, well-funded attack, would you say that something similar to like what VCDL did with GOA, and helping to thwart and fight what they were kind of caught off guard with? Do you think that helped lay a blueprint on not only what Texas could use, but other states, when it comes to their state?
Are you talking about the particular rally that was held, or general actions?
The rally, or how now they have people's ears, there are more people taking part in the process. Now that they're involved now more than they were 3 months ago when the elections took place. Do you think that what's going on now could actually help if the rest of the country paid attention?
Yeah, I think it already is. I mean, so Texas is a little bit odd. We have a legislative session that lasts only 5 months every other year. So we're not even in session right now. So when I'm talking about the legislative hearings, they're just talking about the topic so they can get ready for next year. So okay. That's background. So last year, 2019 legislative session, I put out a lot of calls for people to show up to hearings. And everybody was just really busy. And some people show up, but not a whole lot. After the attacks in El Paso and Odessa, I think everybody really got hit with the realization that, oh my gosh, gun control could actually come to Texas. And so they started holding gun control hearings every single week all through Texas. And I have never seen so many people in tune and interested in what was going on. And I think Virginia just spurred them on because they realized, oh, this actually could happen. This isn't just hypothetical. This isn't something that people try to scare us with. This is real. Right. Texas could become an anti-gun stronghold if we don't stand up. And they quit assuming that somebody else was going to do it for them, and they started saying, we're going to hold Texas, I have to do something. So yeah, it's helped Texans to stand up better.
Awesome. Now, is there any chatter about any bills that might be pre-filed, or have they been already, that the typical Bloomberg stuff we see, the AWBs or red flag? I know red flag's tried a couple times in Texas. Where do we stand right now as far as any of the bills, and were any held over? I tried to check, but I couldn't see.
Yeah, so no bills can be held over. Once session ended at the end of May 2019, everything from that session was either passed or dead. Okay. So everything that didn't pass was dead. It can't be just automatically held to the next session. So nothing has been pre-filed. Nothing can be pre-filed until about 10 days after the general election. So that'll be mid-November. We'll see bills actually being pre-filed. However, we've got a pretty good idea of the list they're trying to go for. All these hearings that they're holding now in the interim, so in the time in between sessions, all of those are basically to gauge public opinion and see, okay, where's the wind blowing? Are they going to push back really hard this direction or harder that direction?
Right.
It's basically how far can we go without really ticking one of the sides off, and what's going to be worthwhile to us. And so what we see in those topics they're covering is what I believe is their wish list, and they're testing the waters to see, what if we push these through, pre-file them, make these our priorities, how bad are we going to be off? Like, how bad are we going to tick off the gun rights people, and how much are we going to suffer? So what we're seeing is definitely red flag laws in a lot of shapes and forms. They don't call them red flag laws anymore because we demonize the name, but they're still coming back. The same policy. Right. Just call them something else every time. Expanded background checks are huge, especially because our Republican lieutenant governor has been calling for them. And he wants to do only on stranger-to-stranger sales, which there's no definition for that, so that's really dumb, but also dangerous. So expanded background checks. A lot of gun safety, and that could go a lot of different directions, but little mandates and things aimed at keep at higher penalties if kids get a hold of guns, even if they don't do any damage with them, and that could damage high school shooting teams. It could really hurt them and teenagers who can be trusted with a gun. So measures like that, I see definitely moving forward, even if the legislature stays Republican dominated. I see them really pushing that and saying, but you guys, come on, be common sense. Come over to our side a little bit. And obviously, if more of it flips, then we could see more hardcore measures like we're seeing in Virginia right now.
Right. So how many seats does Texas have up for bid come November?
All of the House of Representatives,
Right.
every single general election, all
Now,
150 seats.
That's why I said that, because people need to realize how important it is that you get out and vote. Would you say that one meeting that they're actually looking to see how we feel about gun control, would it be beneficial if people start calling and writing their reps now?
Absolutely. And if anybody wants to run to my Facebook page, I believe the last post I made, or second to last post I made, gave just a whole synopsis of the 3 upcoming hearings, and I put all the phone numbers of all the committee members. And so Monday morning, sometime during business hours, just go through, give them a call. And again, you know what? It's not scary to call your rep's office. Like, I remember the first time I called, and probably the first 10 times, it just felt scary because what if they ask me a question I don't know? And I finally realized it's not a test. I'm not getting graded. And right. I'm the one who's supposed to be telling them things, not them making me scared. And also, you never talk to your rep. You have to work a lot harder than that to talk to your rep. You just talk to a staff member, probably an intern, who wants to get off the phone quicker than you do. Right. And so it's literally just, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a constituent. Or if they're a committee member, just, I understand Representative so-and-so's on this committee. Please tell him I do not support expanded background checks. And they're like, okay, thank you very much. And they hang up. That's it.
Yeah, and chances are, 9 times out of 10, you know more about the bill than the person answering the phone.
Yeah. And the thing is, they don't really care if 1 or 2 people call, but if they get kind of a lot of calls about the same topic the same day, they're going to start looking online on Facebook, say, hey, who's making these people call? Like, are they just calling of their own accord because they really believe this? They're going to start paying attention. And it affects elections. It affects decisions. It absolutely affects committee votes.
Absolutely. With everything going on in Virginia, I've had, based off a couple of videos I had that kind of riled people up, good and bad. I've had members of their legislature reach out to me, so it absolutely does help. I know there's a lot of people that say, it doesn't matter what I say, what I write. I say this every now and then. I live in Massachusetts. I have Elizabeth Warren and Maura Healey. I call and write all the time. You still have to do your part, even if I know, she's never even in the damn state anyway, Pocahontas, but you still have to do your part, guys and gals. It takes seconds. I also prefer people go and see them in person, catch them on their office hours when they're in the districts. It's the best time because they can. There's a little different when you're talking to a person. There's a little more accountability than just click, next. So if you can, guys and gals, do it. Yeah.
And see, that's another great point, because it's really easy for any organization to generate a lot of phone calls and emails. So they pay attention, but it doesn't mean as much as people showing up in person, either for the district office meeting or literally to a hearing, because you have the attention of not just the staffers, not just the interns. You got the reps and the senators sitting there because they have to, and it's their job, and you get to talk to them for 2 or 3 minutes, and that's huge.
When you do talk to them, don't come off like a crazy person, because then they'll be begging for that red flag so they don't have to see you anymore. So be careful. Are you familiar with the ATF and the 4473 debacle going on?
Yes, I haven't been following it as closely because it's not a state ledge issue as much, but yeah.
All right, so today is the last day. There's an open, you know how the feds work. So with everybody paying attention to Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Washington, they want to change the 4473. They came off and said that it was, to add non-binary under the gender section. But in the process, they redesigned the form so where the actual stuff you buy is on top, on page 1, right above your name. As you know, GOA has a lot of information that they've been taking pictures and photocopies illegally. And this is going to go a long way for a national registry. So I just wanted to let everybody know while we're on here, please reach out. And it takes about 2 minutes with the links that I provided in the video. I'll put them in here too. But GOA has a way to get a hold of or to make your comment on all this stuff. It's imperative, guys and gals, because if we don't get enough people raising hell in the next before business tomorrow, they're going to assume that we're all cool with it. Let me see if I can get this all in here. Yeah, it's not going to let me because it's too big. But let me just do, it's gunowners.org/NA, like November, 02152 Let me try it one more time and see if it'll work here. There it is. So it's in the chat right now. Go to that. You fill out 5 things and you hit send, and GOA does the rest of the work for you. We need to let the ATF know that we're on to them about the National Registry. So how are we doing time-wise? We're at 30 minutes. What do you, as the representative for GOA in Texas, what is something you want the people in your state to know or do?
Right. So in addition to everybody joining the GOA Texas Facebook group and staying on top of it, I want them to be talking to their friends, to their neighbors, to people in their circles, in their communities about gun issues. And guys, you don't have to know everything that's happening in the world right now. You don't have to have read the bills. Yes, that's a good thing, but you can go talk to your friends in your community about, oh, gun carry makes me safer. I carry a gun because I don't want to be vulnerable. Talk to your friends and neighbors about these things. Normalize it. That's how we fight the public opinion battle. And
right.
You don't have to even drive to Austin or pay any money or do anything out of the ordinary or take time in order to fight that battle just on a very basic level. We know, like we've been talking about, the other side is fighting every single day the public opinion battle to demonize you as a gun owner, to stigmatize gun ownership, and to emphasize that guns have no value. We have got to fight back against that on the public opinion level. So that's frankly the easiest and most basic thing that I wish everybody would do.
Awesome. Is there, are you going to Gunathon?
Yes, I'm planning to be there.
All right, awesome. Me too. Could you maybe give everybody a heads up about Gunathon and what it is?
Yeah. So Gunathon is a super cool GOA event in Virginia, D.C. area. I believe it's April 25th, if I have that exact date right. It's on a Saturday.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got, of course, Jared's going to be there. A lot of other speakers and YouTubers, people who really are well known in the gun rights world for giving out good information. Some vendors are going to be there as well. And so I'm just looking forward to having a great time shooting some guns, talking to some people, and meeting folks that I only see online usually.
Ditto.
What it's about.
So I just put the link in if everybody wants to check it out. It is a ticketed event, so you would have to get your ticket to get in because the place doesn't hold as many people as we would all want to show up for gun rights. But check it out. It is a shooting event, so we're going to be able to play with some nice firearms and stuff, get to meet people that you want. Like, I'm going to meet people that I just know either by phone or by video chat, like Rachel. But it should be a good time, and it's going to be an annual event, I think.
Hopefully so, yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Check it out, guys. April 25th. It's a Saturday. It's coming quick. I mean, February's almost done. Yeah. What? You shouldn't need a ticket. You're part of the company. You shouldn't need a ticket. I'll have Jordan take care of that.
Plane tickets. I got
okay.
We got flights booked.
All right. I think I'm gonna drive down so I can bring some coolness in the truck. But
nice. I wish we had time. It's a little too far. I don't have the time.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Believe me. All right. So Bloomberg, we already know he's coming. You told everybody how to show up and how to band together and how to stop it. Is there anything else you want to direct people towards other than obviously joining GOA and nothing at Facebook? Is there anything, maybe give out that information on that meeting one more time, because I believe that is extremely important.
Sure. So information, then like a note of hope that I wanted to also give out. So the hearing is this Wednesday, February 26th. It starts at 10 a.m. It'll probably go late into the evening. Show up for as much as you can. And you can find a lot more information about that on Facebook. You can obviously follow me personally, Rachel Malone, or definitely go join the GOA Texas Facebook group. We want you guys there. And the encouraging thing about this hearing is they are actively soliciting comments on how to improve, how to defend our right to bear arms. It's like they're literally asking for us to show up and say, please pass constitutional carry. Please end gun-free zones. They didn't use those words, but that is exactly what they're asking for. And this one particular committee is actually probably the friendliest committee that we will have. They recently got a new committee chair. The old one was very anti-gun. One of the few Republicans to actually vote against gun bills. Now it's a much more friendly pro-gun committee member who's in favor of constitutional carry, at least on a general level. We need to take advantage of this. I keep talking about fighting against gun control, and yes, we've got to do that. But I believe there is actually a lot of hope right now for moving Texas forward. We don't just have to be content with, keeping the red flag laws at bay and keeping the gun control away. We can pass constitutional carry. Texas can do this. We can get rid of more gun-free zones. Our legislature has actually in the past decade passed several important pro-gun bills. We have licensed open carry. We have a form of campus carry. We've improved on various things. There's no reason why we can't tell them, look, guys, it's time to go further, do what the majority of the states have done, and let us carry our handguns without a license required. So that's my hope, and I hope that we've got enough people that share that who can show up and also join the fight.
Awesome. And it is possible. You guys had quite a few pro-gun bills that went into effect this past September, right?
There was a slate. They were all very, very small. I think other organizations try to tout them as this great victory. It was little tiny pieces, but
right.
But again, at least we didn't go backwards. And if we're making tiny steps forward, there's no reason why we can't also make big steps forward.
Awesome.
We just got to do it.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
I want to push everybody. I'll say it until they prove that they shouldn't anymore, but support Gun Owners of America. Support those who support you. There are agencies out there that are doing the work while some of the others aren't. Take that for what you want, but when things are popping, you see a couple of the usual people there, and GOA is there all the time, and they took stuff to the Supreme Court at the drop of a hat when things were going on in Virginia, and they're pushing some good legislation. So please join them. Again, use my link. I don't get a nickel out of it. It saves you $5, so it makes it that much more affordable. $15 for a year. Maybe $20 is too much for you. Take advantage of that, and help the GOA, because lawsuits and lawyers cost a lot of money. None of it's cheap. They need us. We the members are the blood, the driving force of not just GOA, but any of them. You name, insert the group here. The membership is what actually makes things work. So there's a question real quick. What is your Facebook? You want to give that up?
Yeah, sure. So the link is facebook.com/rachel.malone.tx, or just search Rachel Malone. I think there's a picture of me giving a speech with the Alamo behind me or something. So you should be able to find it.
Awesome. And I just joined, you had to approve me, I guess, but I just joined the GOA Texas group. So I will do everything I can to help you guys. You know that. So when we end here, we'll talk after this. But thank you, everybody, for your time. I appreciate you all way more than you know. Also, don't forget to take the 2 minutes out of your life and check the links that are in my video from last night that YouTube tried to take down twice. We have to let the ATF know we caught them trying to make a registry. Yep. So take action on that, guys and gals. And until we see each other again, actually, before I sign off, we have a couple more cool live streams this week. Tomorrow, we're going to have the Arizona Citizens Defense League. Wednesday, we got Phil Van Cleve from VCDL back on. And then on Thursday, we got Dr. Val from GOA in Pennsylvania fighting all that craziness that just came out from the governor's speech. So some cool stuff, guys. I'm trying to bring you the people who are doing what they're doing, trying to save the states one by one here. So thank you all for your time. Until we see each other again, I am Jared. She is Rachel.
And I'm Rachel.
Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon, everybody. Have a fantastic evening.